All right, I am live. So, welcome everybody. So today, I will be starting here in just a few minutes, but today I will be kind of covering over what's been kind of done, where we're at, and what the last little bit of stuff is that I have to do. So, welcome. I will have a start for us here just in a few minutes, hopefully, if all goes well. And I do welcome everybody that's joined. I'm gonna just wait a few minutes. I'm a little early. I've got the starting soon up, but I'm sure people that are kind of joining can watch, and I'll get about 4 or 5 minutes, and then I'll actually be doing something. So, but let me think. If there's anything I can kind of randomly cover for minutes while I'm waiting for anybody to potentially join. Let's mute this guy. Oh, looks like I've got somebody that's come along now. Welcome. Make sure, let me maybe throw in chat if you can hear me, if the audio is working. It looks like it's working for me today. What I missed last time, I actually noticed this time. So please do let me know if you see or hear anything going wrong. But meanwhile, I am just going to be fiddling around for a second while I'm waiting for people to join with some wire maintenance and lead kind of dress and whatnot, so things look a little neater, hopefully. A little neater, not a lot, because there's a lot of wires going on in here. But, yeah, so... So, if anybody, I'll start this off, even though I'm a little early, I'll remind people of this. I'm very, very welcoming of any comments, suggestions, questions, even if they're not specific to this particular amp build, please do fire away. I will be more than happy to try and answer them as best I can. Today we are, for those of you that maybe have just joined for the first time, finishing up the final work on a Dumble Overdrive special. So this is a Fender Bassman 100 that I bought used, and have just basically used the chassis and transformers and tube sockets and whatever else that I had with it as the skeleton for building a new amp. So we're getting very near the end here. I've got a few more little things here and there to kind of tie up today. Hopefully I might even be able to finish the wiring today in the live stream, but I won't be able to power it up until I've spent some time covering the making sure all the connections look right, and I'll kind of talk about that as well once I'm to that point, so that it makes sense. So okay, so that's weird. I swear I put this on Do Not Disturb and it's still bleeping at me. Anyway, so welcome. We've got a couple of viewers here, and in another minute or so I will start the actual live stream. I tend to chat a little bit with people while I'm waiting for it to go. I like to start a little early so that if people were thinking of joining, they see it right when they get there. So I do have to do today the last 2 or 3 little things in wiring up the controls, which everybody probably saw me doing in that recent video. So hopefully that is something you guys were able to watch, so that you'll be up to where I'm at, but we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can chat about. At any rate, we are... Oh, I got a bit... Yeah, I will probably do a live video. Phenom, thanks. Probably will do this live when I fire this guy up for the first time. And if it works, we'll be happy. If not, we also maybe we'll get to learn together how to troubleshoot. So, but I definitely plan on doing that. So that'll be kind of one of those where I will wrap it up, finish it, get everything 100% ready, but I won't power on until I can get a live stream for everybody to join in and watch. So, and this may be a shorter one today, so it's all right if you have to leave early. I'm going to try and finish all the wiring, and I honestly do not have, boatloads of wiring left to finish, so it may only be about a half an hour and we're done. And then I have to do the validation process, which would be really boring for you guys to have to listen to real time. So, but yeah, absolutely. Thanks. All right. So it looks like we are at 11. So I will go ahead and remove the live stream. We'll start little screen here and we're going to get started. So what I need to kind of finish up, and you won't be able to see this super well, is I'm going to come down in this end right here. I have run the last wire, and I will kind of use my mouse to show you what I'm talking about down here in that bottom screen here. The last wire that comes, I have to connect from these two switches. This 270K resistor has to come all the way over the bright switch. In this view, it's right next to each other, but in mine, these two switches all the way over here are coming over to this switch here. So I have a long lead coming down underneath it. One of my fears is that some of this stuff could start causing a lot of noise because you don't like long runs on audio signal stuff. But since this is all in the controls area and there's no interference that should be impactful of this stuff, I think we will be okay. We will find out. So I've just got to kind of figure out what length to cut this at. And then we should be good to go. So we'll go that way. Welcome everybody that's here, by the way. I'm glad to have here. Right now, one of the things I get to try and figure out is how I can easily, I've been kind of finding doing controls is one of the trickier things, and I think, honestly, if you can connect things before you put them inside of a chassis that's like this, I would recommend it. I didn't realize how hard this was going to be until after it was too late and I'd put it in. So I'm going to kind of carefully try and remove this guy enough without bending the leads too much on the capacitor that I already have in it, so that I can I have to resolder to the very bottom connector, which is definitely not going to be easy to get to. So we shall see here in a sec if I can do that. I have. All right. Oh, although doing this has actually helped me see something that was problematic. In my infinite wisdom, looks like I have soldered those two completely together, which means that the switch itself wouldn't work. So it's good that I had to do this because now I can see that that's not going to work. Okay, by the way, once I start soldering, I'm going to turn this fan on, so there'll be a little noise. So I apologize for that. But I'm just looking here going, what in the, how did I not notice this? I have jumpered completely between these 2 points. So I got to clear out a little solder and clean that up. So let's get that really quickly. A little solder wick in there. And try and remove some of that gunk. Trying to see. Actually, I better take that off for a laser. All right, hopefully you guys can kind of see what's going on. Actually, let me try and focus that a little better just on this switch. You probably can't see what I'm doing on the back side very well, but it will at least allow you to kind of see. I found that these are jumped together, which isn't good. So I need to try and get the solder to flow again, because I have to unjump this bottom one and put a good one in. So. Hey, look at that. I just separated the point there. That's good. Okay, now all I need to do is get this other lead that I just ran over. Or is it? There it is. Right here. Go through that as well. Let's see if we can pull that off. This is the kind of stuff. I've actually had Angie help me with some of my amp stuff, and she actually enjoyed some of it as well. But I'll tell you what, it was tricky for me to do some of this stuff, and it was almost easy for her because of her small hands. I have the big meat hooks. We were talking about that on the last live stream as well. It's like a challenge for me to get my big fat hands inside these little delicate things and get it done right, but never fail, I will, or never fear, I will prevail. Ah, you turkey. Go in your hole, it's your home. There we go. I don't want to dry solder that, so I gotta try and look at that. Does it look clean? It looks pretty clean. But what I will do is quickly flow a little bit more solder on it to make sure that it doesn't stay dry soldered and that I didn't do something silly there. So. And if the connection pops out, it'll be a good sign I had something else not quite right anyway. Nope, looks like it's flowing well now. All right, cool. Just snip away excess leads and we should be good with that. How's everybody's Saturday going? Well, you know, I should probably just had you come down and do this one for me because it was a pain in my butt, but I got it. So, but as you might have all heard me say, it was a good thing I went in here because now that you can see it, hopefully you can see it. Oh, I'm putting my hand in the way. I'm going to try and zoom in really close and show you. But I just figured out I had done, let's see if the focus right. Oh, I'm too close. I have to zoom back out a little bit. Kind of lose focus if you get too close. But right here, this gap between these two was actually a big solder blob. So this circuit would never work. But now I can fit this in between those two, and that means we don't have a physical connection and it's fixed. So we'll go ahead and zoom back out now, and we will get the wider shot. And I will put this guy back in place again. And hopefully that little bit of moving around of that wire has not created any stress to create like fatigue. So we definitely don't want that. All right. So, I think one of the people that joined is Les. He said he was asking me earlier, so I've got him here. You should try and figure out how to use the chat, Les, and say hi to Lala, because she's here. Lala's the nickname for Angel, by the way, for those of you that are watching from home. I welcome everybody. So I think there was also some confusion for some of you that might be maybe that aren't used to the YouTube chat system. There was some people chatting in the video itself, like the video messages, which is perfectly fine, and I'll respond to those, but I don't see those usually until later. But to be interacting in the chat itself here, you need to go into the video, the live stream video, the live video chat, I guess is what it's called, to make sure that you get involved and chat with us there. So please do jump on and say hello and chat with us live while it's going on. All the live chats have set up that will kind of show up on screen as well, so that people like watching later can kind of make sense of our discussion, and it won't be confusing that I'm responding to something that didn't seem to actually happen. But Angie's waving at you. All right, so I believe, in all honesty, I now have everything here hooked up. A couple of exceptions that I can't really fix yet. One is, this is the master volume, and I have to connect a lead from it. Oh, let me pull it over. I'm not even on it. Over here, this is master volume. I have to run a lead from it all the way over here somewhere. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's into these guys. So it'll jumper just from here to here. That connects the master volume out into the effect loop, which then jumps back in and goes into the main board. But I also have to run another one from the volume center pot here, the main volume, which is just off screen. Let me come back to this one, down and over to here as well. So one of the things, in fact, if you look again, I had gotten confused. I'm going to blow this up because I wanted people to understand it, but it was confusing. It was all haze to me. I was just so lost. So let me blow this up. They don't really make it super clear, but if you look right here, it says volume V1-7. Let me get my mouse over so you can see what I'm talking about. Right here. I didn't see that little V1-7, and so I was wondering, I kept thinking, how is the volume to be going out somewhere and back into the amp again? This is all going to controls. But what that means is that's valve 1, grip pin 7, which is, if we kind of scroll back down over here, that is right here to this, well, this is the input there, just 220K right here. So that was the part that I was missing and wasn't super clear because they didn't, it was so small, I think. I mean, it is clear now that I see it, but it just needed to probably be a little bit bigger or a note somehow. But, you know, I'm working with what I've got, and this is one of those things you just learn as you kind of fuddle through it and go, wait, this isn't going to work. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shrink this back down now. Sorry, software that I'm using to do this is a little tricky sometimes. Right there. All right, so what I need to work on now, there's a couple of things. This whole part of the preamp now is done. One of the things I need to check on, and we'll kind of zoom in and actually get a little closer up on that, is the output jacks right here. And I might have to adjust my lighting a little bit too because it's looking a bit dark. If I don't need the fan, go ahead and turn it off. Well, yeah, I don't need it now because I'm not soldering for minutes. That's a good idea. I'll try and remember that. So let me adjust the lighting a little bit more to try and get in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily pull these out, enough to pull them up and look at them, because I believe these were rewired for that. If you've been along for the whole ride, there was a separate, what do you call it? They'd put up a weird line off of the speaker output in some way, which, you know, I've heard a lot about. One of the biggest problems doing that kind of thing is that it ends up sounding pretty horrible. It just doesn't work. So I need to basically restore this to the way it's supposed to be, which is going to be, there's just two speaker jacks, and you can plug a speaker into the first one and then the second one if you want to as well. But you have to kind of do it in the right order and whatnot. So, but let's pull this out. Let's take a look, because I think, yeah, so the primary green wire is the main, I think it's like a 4 ohm on these things, if I remember right. Let me pull these out of the way. That's supposed to connect in to the first one. If we look, you can actually see right over here. I'm going to reach the little schematic area over, so we're looking at that area. And I'll kind of zoom in on it as well. Oh, come on, quit fighting me. Come on, you can do it. All right, so put that more central. So you can see first that little yellow line is just the negative feedback wire, which I have right here. I'll connect that in as well. But they've connected the ground directly to this jack. And then they were getting ground from chassis, but then they connected the input wire to this one, which is wrong, as you can see. So I have to have the switch jack instead, to where the green wire hits both of them in the right spot, and then the jumper ground connects between the switch and the ground on the one and off of the other. So I'm kind of mumbling through that, but I think you get the idea. So I'm going to quickly desolder things that are done wrong here and resolder them so that they're done the right way. So we'll go through that real quickly. Let me get a little bit of, clean this tip. It's a bit crusty. Put a little bit of fresh solder on it. Again, I'll say, for those of you that are just joining, please do ask any questions. I'm game for anything, even if it's not Dumble related. We had some asking some questions about a tweed that they were building, and I was able to hopefully help a little bit with that. So, all right, so we'll set that there for a second. Get this guy. I'm going to desolder it here. Also, whoever did this didn't do a necessarily awesome job either. So what we'll probably do is try and clean these leads up a little bit. You can see some dry soldered blobs on there that are kind of ugly, that we will try and solder suck away. And go like this, kind of clean up this mess. That's a little bit better. There we go. Those are a little cleaner now. All right, so what I kind of want to do is clean back just a little bit more of this as well. So I have a little bit more wire. So we're going to kind of cut back about here. Trying to get this little bit of this off may be fun though, because there's always a glob of solder at the very end that doesn't want to. I might just do this. There we go. All right, so now I've got a little bit of a clean end there. Do the same with this guy. Snip off just a teeny bit, and then strip off a little bit more. All right, so now I've got some nice clean ends. We will twist those lead to get them nice and tight. So they're good for resoldering into this thing. And then we'll resolder. All right, so the way this connects in, as you can see on the picture, is we take the, and one of the things that I have found is a nice way to do this, and you're not going to be able to see as easily, but basically to plug these in backwards, and then I can solder everything back here the way I like it, and in the shape I like it, then pick it up, pull it around, and drop it in the other side. So we're going to do that. Let me find, where did I put the nuts for this? Oh, nuts. Get it? Pun? Nuts? All right, so come on. I know they were right here. Oh, there went something to the floor. Probably one of the nuts. Yeah, it was one of the nuts, but where'd the other one? Did I already knock it on the floor too? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So, and they don't need to be super tight, just to be held in place, basically. So, just so they're held in place. Same with this guy. All right, so remember, if you were on one of my previous live streams, I did talk about the difference between switch jacks and unswitched jacks, and this amp uses a very complicated switch jack for the fed input because it has to be able to kind of, depending on where you plug in your input, make sure that things are switched correctly. All right, so one of the first things I want to do is I'm going to quickly also solder suck out these holes so that we have nice clean holes. Put our wires in. There's also a small lead still in here from something in the past. I'm going to try and pull out here. What is that? This looks like they snipped it off but didn't get all of the wire out. Yuck, melted plastic. Smells wonderful. There we go. That's one hole cleaned out. Let's get this one. So, the Dumble adventure is coming close to a close now, and the next stage of this, by the way, actually I don't need to fix that today because it's already got a little jumper in it, but is going to be, I've got a plan for another amp that hopefully will come up soon, but I've got a couple of videos that will come out between. So a little sneak peek is I'm going to be doing I did a little bit of a build on a repair not too long ago for a guy on his orange amp, and the repair came out nice at the end, and oh my gosh, there we go. The repair came out well at the end, and so you'll be able to see me putting things back together and whatnot, and getting it all together, fixing it, finding the problem, etc. So that'll be an interesting series. I also bought an oscilloscope for pretty cheap that's broken. We're going to see if we can repair it, so that'll be another potentially fun one. So come along for the ride. All right, so what I need to do is connect green in to basically the input of this one and the switch, and the input of that one, and then we have the switched ground. So effectively I need to, but I also want to connect the what do you call it? I'm drawing a blank now. The negative feedback into that as well. So what we're going to do is I will use the negative feedback also as a jumper. So we'll strip off enough of that to jump between those two. So effectively this is going to go in through here. I'll actually pull that out so I can see this a little bit better. And in through like that. Let me double check that that looks right. Yes, that does. So what I'll solder in first is this guy. If I can get it to go in, again, now that I've... Let me get my pliers and bend that over really quickly. Speaker jacks are pretty easy to wire up correctly, but you do need to make sure that you understand what the tip is versus the ground, and you can do that with a continuity test just by getting a multimeter on continuity, putting in a jack, a wire, and connecting one end of the wire, like the tip or the sleeve part, and seeing where it ends up. So I'm just quickly going to flow solder into this joint. Just turn the fan on. That'll be a little bit of soldering. Fan coming back on. And I think got enough solder there. Cool. So if you can see what I'm doing there is that, you probably can't. I will show you in a minute, actually. Once I'm done, I'll show it to everybody. But I was able to, since I had to jumper between, if you can see on that picture, you see the green jumpering between the two jacks. I'm just taking my negative feedback wire into the one jack, over to the other jack, and making it the jumper, as well as connecting myself in with that. And then, there we go. And then we are connecting that, that way we get the connection we need for both. So, alright, and then the last thing I need to do is, similarly, you can see the ground connects kind of from this side to this one as well. And then there's a jumper between those two, so I'm going to get a small piece of black wire. I was talking about, I have all these little strip pieces left over. There's another perfect use for that. I can just jumper between there and there. So I will strip that off, get that going. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, because as I said before, that's the best way to find out how this is working. Ask them in chat and I'll be happy to answer those for you. Or if you're just here for the soothing radio voice and the bad dad jokes, then by all means, just stay quiet. I also did a video a little bit ago because somebody had asked, why do you choose certain resistors? What do you use them for, and why? And then I answered that question just in the comments. But then they said, what about capacitors? Why are you using certain capacitors? And I thought, this is just something that will work really well as a video, so I'll do it as a video instead. And I think that worked out pretty well. So please give me suggestions on content that you guys think would be helpful for you. I say that on every video. So hopefully I'm not sounding like a broken record to you guys that have been around for a while, but I hope it's making sense that it's something I enjoy and I think that would be good for everybody else. I'm actually going to pull the existing connection out and use this guy that I have, since I have so much. Alright, we're going to solder suck as well on this guy. Where did that sucker go? There it is. It looks like I've got a total of 5 right now, and that's good. I'm glad I've got a few more people here watching today. I also have asked many times before, please either in the comments of the video after, or if you're watching it later, or during the live stream, if you think a different time is better, let me know. I tend to have more free time on Saturday, this kind of stuff, but that doesn't mean I can't. I've been trying to find times on Thursday nights, and I see it maybe a little bit more on Thursday nights, so I'm going to try and do those more often as well. But just doing a live stream on Thursday nights for me is generally a little trickier, just due to the fact that I've got all the other stuff going on, work, all that jazz, family. But I can arrange things. All right. Let's put that guy through there. That guy through there. And then I will show this to you guys once it's done. And you'll see what I fixed and why this was a bit wacky. A bit wackety whack. Alright, there we go. Let that cool off, and we'll pull it out and show it to you. Actually, I can start undoing this one. Oh, and then I didn't connect this in. What a numbnuts. I will try and connect it. What is this one right here? Gotta clean that last one back up again, sorry. I have to also connect the ground to the transformer or it will not work. Try that again. Dun dun dun! And here we see is a wild creature in its natural habitat being a dumbass. Alright. Oops, I put it over on the thing. I think we are good there. All right. So we'll let you guys take a look at that now that I actually did it right then. That's too hot. So this is a correctly hooked up output. Butterfingers. All right. So let's look at that. So, oh, that's out of focus. Let's adjust our focus a little bit. All right. So now you can see. So the negative feedback is jumpering between these two, which is the green on the schematic there. If you're looking at that, let me snip that lead. That's excess. And then we have the green coming in to that point as well. So we've got our, basically this means that both our negative feedback going off into the input that we need, and we have our main power transformer, or output transformer connection hitting right there. Then I've got the ground of the output transformer coming over, connecting here across, and then over to here. And we are good. There's one thing I've just realized that I don't have here, that I've told myself I would never omit anymore, is that you should also not count on the output transfer. I mean the physical connection that goes on between these and the chassis being your primary grounding point. So I need to quickly get another lead of ground wire coming off of that guy and connect it to a ground somewhere. I'm trying to see where the nearest ground is though. Because you don't want, and if these corrode or become loose over time, that means you lose the ground for your output transformer, and that can be bad. It will save the output transformer if it has a ground, if something else goes bad and you lose your speaker connection. So I'm just trying to think what I'll do. I've got to create a grounding point somewhere here for the power tube, so I will just assume that I'm going to be able to use that, and I will connect a lead. I'll wrap this possibly just around wire or something, and then solder it there, and then I'll have this loose lead connecting off that I can kind of connect to that ground. I believe that should be plenty enough distance between here and there. So, or I could even just kind of poke it through like that. Let's do that. So you guys will get to watch me do this. Let me refocus a little bit and bring that up just a touch, because I now have the spacing correct. So, all right. So I will get the soldering iron. We'll just connect it in here. And we'll add a little bit of flow, a little bit more onto that joint now, and then I'll snip the excesses off. So, output connected. All right, turn this off again for a minute. What I can do is snip off the excess there. And I think we're good to go. So this will just kind of pull back. We're going to turn this guy around. And, oh, I want to put my non-slipping washers back on here as well. There we go. And we'll insert back into this thing, and we now know that our outputs are done right. You know, it's weird. I swear these, even nuts shouldn't be directional. I almost have always had some problem with certain these types of these really thin nuts not wanting to go in the way that I want them to go in, and I have to kind of dial them back in manually. Or I mean, I have to flip them around because they just aren't going in. But if you watch the other video as well, you'll see I was able to insert my send and return loop stuff, which is going to be nice because I've never had a loop like that on an amp. It is disadvantageous in that it's buffered loop, so you'll have a little bit of signal loss at that point if you use it, but I will still try it out and see how it sounds. So, alright, so another thing I need to do now, and we'll try and zoom out a little bit again, is I need to try and find a way over here in the power tubes to create 2 more grounds, and I'll show you why on the schematic. We have, actually it's right here, this guy right here is designed as a half power switch. They say a slide, I'm going to use a toggle because it's what I have. It's this one. I still don't know where I'll put it yet. I might have to get some washers because this hole right here is really big and it's going to slop around there, but we'll just at least kind of wire it generally here. I might just drill another hole, but at any rate. So we're going to wire it in though, and then we'll figure out how I'm going to mount it later. But I have to have grounds because on this amp, if you look, the grounds are, one of them is here, and that's where I'm going to run my speaker ground to, by the way, is right there. The other is over here. And so the way they work it is the ground, these 2 grounds that come off of the bottom of the slide, or off this top of the slide switch, I'm sorry, the bottom, connect each to the separate grounds, but they are coming from 2 of the power tubes. So that allows you to keep the, that's those yellow wires. So the 2 tubes in the middle, no, sorry, this tube and this tube, as you see, goes straight to ground. So their grounding point, pin 8, comes straight right here. Same with that one, 8, straight right there. But pin 8 on these guys comes over and connects into each half of this switch, and there's a 10K resistor to ground. So I need to wire that up, and then I also need an LED, so I'll also get a red LED. And then the red LED's job is just to light up so you know that you're sending the current to ground. So, so I will start doing that. But to do that, I'm going to need to drill a small hole of some kind somewhere where I have access. And I might do it like right about in here for this side. And then I might do it, I don't know. The other thing I'm debating as well is that the tubes themselves already have an earth connection straight to the chassis. So what I might do is desolder that earth connection and then use that earth connection by winding or soldering into it. We'll see. But that is pretty much that, and grounding this guy, these power tubes, or these power transistor, or filtering caps, grounding those as well, I think, is most everything. I'll have to look around, other than I do want to put a couple of connections across here that I mentioned earlier, and we'll do those as well, and then I'm done. So, we're going to go ahead. I got to find my 10K resistors. Where are my 10K? 10K. I think... I might have set those aside here because I knew I needed to use them, but I don't remember. Let's go ahead and move some of this stuff that I'm not using anymore out of the way. Alright. I think my 10Ks might be in here. Let's look. Doo-doo. 22 meg, no. That's 10 meg. 22K, 24K. Getting there, 5.1K. 4K, 4.7 meg. 4.7K. Okay. 7K. Are you serious? Of course I can't find my 10K. I know I had them because I've used them in other parts of the amp as well. But now I can't find my 10Ks. Son of a gun. You guys are along for the adventure of senility. Let me look again. Oh, I have 10K. That's why I didn't buy them. They're right here. Duh. Alright. So I already had the 10K in stock. So we just need to quickly cut this guy open. Some of the stuff I've been trying to slowly acquire parts that would be regularly used, and 10K is one that I've used on a past amp, so I just bought a bunch of them. So there we go. We'll double check since they came out of a package. They should be good, but it can't hurt to double check. So, oops, over here. All right. Here we go. 9.9K, 9.8K. Perfect. That's within the 5% tolerance range. And 10K. All right, so those are the ones. So these guys are going to go into this switch into the bottom. So I will just basically do this. Oh. I will break you. I'm in Arnold mood today, apparently. I'll just do one at a time instead of both, so I'm not fighting myself. Actually, that might be, let's see, that might be a little close to where I'm going to be soldering, which could cause it to kind of overheat. But so we'll have to be careful of that. But all right, and then this guy. All right. Oh, I got 6 people now. Hello, hello, whoever else just joined. Welcome. The status now for you that have just joined is that I am just quickly connecting the half power stuff together. In fact, we'll kind of zoom in for you guys. And I'll have to refocus, but you can see what I'm doing. A little bit closer. Turn the fan back on. Hello, Steven. What's so funny, Steven? Probably not me. I'm cheesy, corny, not funny. And welcome, by Steven. I'm glad to have you along. So the purpose of this switch, as I explained, is just going to send. It basically lifts from direct ground instead to 2 10K resistors to ground, and that really creates. It lifts. It makes the tubes just not conduct anymore. So they're effectively still powered, still running, still getting signal in, but they don't put anything out because they can't conduct. So, all right. All right. So as you can see, that's coming out the bottom, and then we will join those two together. And effectively now we get the LED, and we want to take the positive end of the LED and then connect the negative end to the ground. So wherever I install this guy, I'm going to want to, I might have to give myself a little bit of wire here because I want this to be able to flex and move a little bit. So what I'm going to do is take a small, put this back there where you guys can see. I'm going to take a small amount of wire here and wind it inside of that and then put some shrink wrap over it, and then it'll give me a little bit of room to do what I'm talking about. So oh, whoops, get in there. You feel my pain? Yeah. Yep. The cursing is about to begin. I've had too much coffee this morning, and part of it, my hands are shaking like crazy. See how you are, coffee? You're so delicious and so yummy, but you cause me such shakes. Hippie shakes, or whatever. Oh, come on. I still didn't get. All right. maybe next video series I'm going to make Angie sit here with me, and she's going to do all of the little work. I'll just talk through and be the talking head instead. Alright, so we have soldered that guy together. Oh, I got a little bit of a blob there. Means I've got a little excess. I'll try and peel that off. Oh, there we go. That worked though. Alright, so. And then what I'll do is slip away those little excess ends right there. And we'll get a little bit of that same green tubing. I think this, oh, you know, this might be, well, no, I think it'll work. We'll see if it does, but I think it will. So, run this guy up. So we run that up right near the end, almost as far as it'll go. And promise myself I'm not going to burn myself today. That's done. Then I will strip the lead off of this end. Then I will strip, there we go. Alright, and take the anode. So, here's a little tip for you. If you ever get new of these guys, the reason you have a one side longer than the other is that's the anode. The idea is if you cut it to the same length and then rotate it sideways, it would turn into a plus. So I need to connect the positive end here, and then the negative end I will connect off to a grounding wire. So similarly, I will, although I want a little bit of shrink tube on this guy as well, so I should really pre-put that on this before we get there. So let's get myself a section of shrink tube put onto the, where'd it go? I've lost it. You guys point out to me where I just dropped that thing. It's just a switch. There it is. All right. Okay. So now, similarly, I will fight the losing fight of trying to get this on right. Let me double check that. That's the one. Now, if you have a diode mode test on your multimeter, which most have, you can also do a test of this as well to make sure you're getting it, but let me adjust focus a little bit because that's sticking clear out in the wind. There we go. And if you notice, I always spend a second at least getting a few windings around to create a physical connection. That's why it's just hanging in the air well before soldering, and then the solder becomes more of a glue that makes sure that that connection doesn't come undone ever and isn't performing the task of being what holds the actual electrical conductivity together. All right, let's go ahead and straighten that guy, bring it on up. Well, oh, of course, I'm just a teeny bit short, so I'm going to have to back it off. It's okay to have a little bit of that lead available. Didn't measure it well enough, but that's okay. There we go. And then similarly, I'm going to get myself a bit of black wire. How much do I need, though? I don't know how much I need. We'll do a little bit longer piece, because I don't know how much I'll need eventually. Where's my black? There's my black. Alright. Well, I lied. We've already been almost an hour. I said it might be done quickly today, but I am getting very close. I have to effectively wire this up and create a grounding point, and then I'm done, I think, with the amp. So, and then we have to go do double checking and triple checking and then fix anything that's wrong. So, alrighty. So what I'm going to do now is turn it this way so that I have the ground lead coming at me. Oh. just about had it, but then the weight was imbalanced on this guy, and it started trying to tip off me. Try that again. All right. And let's do this. Oh, I've got to clean my tip. It's getting crusty. And, oh, I didn't get very clean there either. Wonder if my scrubby brush thingy there is getting a little bit too dirty itself. So I was finally able to order myself some more flux, because this flux I have has been so yucky. But hopefully it'll make things a little bit easier. All right. And there we have that. All right, so this is now wired in for that part. So all I need to bring into it as well is the I'll bring in the, I have to pull the grounds off of tube. I think the way they're doing this is 1 and 3. So this tube, oh, let me redirect back a little so you guys can see. So tubes 1 and 3, oh wait, sorry, 1 and 3, the ground needs to be pulled out, and then I will reconnect to them through a different route. So let's just go ahead and do that. And I think, like I said, I think I can actually just use the ground that's already here. I just have to disconnect it from the actual tube socket pin. There we go. Similarly, 1, 2, 3, this guy. A lot of wires in the way. I have to be careful on this one. There we go. Alright. So what I want to do is get myself a bit of black wire that will run from here to roughly wherever I fit this guy in the middle. Something. What? Something. Wayne finally said something. I'm wondering if it's that far behind or what, because I asked that question. Man, I wonder if my live stream is way behind. So just so you guys know, I'm just barely... Oh, Wayne just retracted. Maybe it's because I said the same thing and he said something. But it took so long for me to catch it that he thought I didn't respond. Or something. All right. Let's see. The ground will go in here. Now we've soldered that. And we'll resolder connection. Go. That's, oops, I moved it. That wasn't smart. Now, there is a tip that you, at least I caught myself. Trap for young players, they say. Do not move your wire till the solder has had a, and I just moved it again. I'm trying to, I need to put a little bit more fresh solder, but you'll create a dry soldered connection if you move the joint prematurely before it's completely hardened. So wet it, get it silvery, and then leave it alone for 10-15 seconds. Don't move it. Similarly, I'll get myself another lead of black wire ready while I'm waiting for that to kind of harden. That's an easy trap if you're not paying attention and you do something like that, you can end up making a really crappy soldered connection because you don't look at it as you solder it and then pull away. What in the world? There we go. Looks like it's fighting me. All right. Solder that one in now. And all right. So I can kind of snip off the excess on this guy. So these ones go into the middle somewhere, and like I said, I think I'm going to try and put it roughly around here. So we will just get my length to be in the middle. And the way I do this is I need to kind of have it this direction. So I'm trying to find out what would be the easiest way for me to, because the resistors go on top, as you can see in that picture. So I will might just set it sideways like this for each side for a second while I wire that up. But give myself a little bit of leeway. Strip that. And put it in here. Oh, come on. All right. I will not scream. I will not go into that dark night. Anyway. I will make it to number 13. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's going to be our power-up. Live stream number 13 will be the power-up. So, you guys hopefully will enjoy it. I will enjoy it. Live power-up. Watch it blow up in my face. Everybody lulls. But then we learn from our failures, right? And then we try again. Now, so far I've been getting better at having power-ons work right off the bat because I spend so much time back through the amp. It doesn't mean that I don't fail occasionally, but like I go back through that amp and I double check all of my stuff to make sure it looks right before I turn the power switch. And I'll do that offline, but I'm going to cover that briefly at the end of this video live stream. Sorry, I've got a little teeny piece of the wire that looks like it. I just snipped it, but it doesn't want to come away, so give it to... There we go. Broke this. All right. Ooh, I'm going to snip a little of that too. The resistor, I snipped it, but it's like, you know, not that close, but I'll just make it a little shorter. Now we'll do the other side. All right. I'll try and fight this guy into place. Now that I have some other wires for it to balance on, it becomes a little easier too. Oh, 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 oh. And I'm thinking 13 might be Thursday night. We'll see. If it's not, it'll be next Saturday possibly. But so come along for the ride. All right, and then the final one is going to be the black wires each going to a normal ground. So the way that works then is that these two grounds from the tubes come into here. If it's switched up, those come to this ground and don't, and then it lights the LED and basically blocks the tubes from conducting because there's a small amount of voltage that will still go through it. And it'll be enough to turn the LED on, but it will not be enough to let tubes conduct. And then we take the other two leads and reconnect them back to an actual ground. So I'm going to need a little bit more black wire to do that. Alrighty. What is going on with my wire stripper? I think that it starts wiggling loose over time. There we go. Alrighty then. So that one. And then there we go. With another little bit of wire. All the excitement. It's like watching paint dry. That guy. Turn this over so I can see this side. Oops, I'm going to drop my wire. I'm sorry, this is just about off of screen, but it's where I have access to it because the wires are starting to create a little bit of resistance. Resistance, get it? Alright, that looks good. Alright. So basically now I gotta try and find a way to connect all of these to a couple of various grounds. I might create a new grounding point, get a drill out and drill a grounding point here Can I drill right there? I'm trying to think. Oh, that won't be great. So what can I do? I've got to find a spot where I have an opening. Maybe I'll do it here. Put a ground point right here with one of these guys, and I'll just connect this grounder to it. I just want it to be for these two tubes, so I'll basically ground this and this to it, as well as the LED. So I'm just trying to think where I could do that at. Where is it? Okay, so I could potentially do it here. I've got a grounding lead of some kind here that's coming through there. I don't like that. So dang it, I guess still should. I'm gonna do it there. Alright, so let me get my drill bit out really quickly and drill. Hold on one second. And we're gonna get that through and mount that last grounding point. We're just about hit the hour, so I guess I'm going to be done right on time. But let me find what size I need. I'm going to find my screws, too. Where are my screws? Is that one of my screws? That is a really long one, though. Don't I have some shorter ones? I don't see my shorter ones. I might have run out of the shorter ones. So I'm going to have a ridiculously long screw, but that's alright. That'll work. So I need a drill bit that's the size of that screw. Slightly longer. This guy. I think it's this guy. If not, I'll switch to the slightly bigger one than that. There we go. Now, one of the first things I do need to do, though, is these guys have been sitting around for a while and they're oxidized, so I need to quickly scrub it with some, I've got some water brushes here somewhere, I hope. I must have a wire scrub. Because you do not want that. I mean, flux is another good way to do it, but I got a little bit of sandpaper, that'll work. So you just want to kind of rough up the metal so that it will make good solid connection, and also will make a generally good screwed in connection as well. All right, looks good. So that you can hopefully see that now. I'll put that down. Let's zoom in and you'll see let's focus a little bit. Focus you back. All right, so you can see the scratching I kind of did on it. That scratching helps provide contact for solder. So, and then, oops. See how ridiculously long that screw is? I don't know if you can, but it's ridiculously long. I might find and replace it later with some smaller ones if I need to, but this will still work. Fat fingers for the lose. Somebody have small fingers for sale? What I might need to do is get my screwdriver out and push it in the bottom and turn the dang thing while I just put the thing on the top. There we go, I got it started now. it still while I tighten that last little bit down. There we go. I think this is possibly the right size, but it's not going to necessarily... Oh, well, sweet. Let me get my screwdriver back in there. I can really mosh down on this beast. There we go. Solid ground. Next, I will take this ground wire underneath some messy stuff here. Back behind. Strip that wire. Should have stripped it before I got it over here, but that's okay. It's okay, man. It's okay. A little bit more so I can wind that through. Alright. And then alright, there's one. I'll go ahead and put the LED ground there as well. That's good. And then I'm going to run this ground that I've been fighting around forever to that same location. And we're finally grounding that guy. Yay! So those are the main grounds I need now, but I leave that top ground hole open in case I find something else I want to ground there. But I can go ahead and solder these guys in. Alright. There we go. Good to go. Now we'll let that harden and do it. Alright. So this is going to be flopping around a little bit. I do need to finish this guy though. So I'm going to end up wrapping it, I think, around the ground, like I said, that's already on the part there. So I just need to give myself enough wire. Let's just shoot. I can actually cut a decent amount off there. Strat. I'm going to give it Look at you guys watching me stripping. Ah! I say that joke every time. People are going to get sick of it. Nobody has told me to shut up yet, though, so it's your own fault for encouraging me. Sorry, I'm trying to fight how I can wind it around so easily. Ah, you piece of shite. Angie, come help. You guys, I'm gonna have an aneurysm trying to get this to work. It's like a 3/4 to a 1/2 of an inch little piece of wire that's soldered down, and that's fine. I want to get my lead of wire here to wrap around it, but since it moves, and both of them are moving, and I can't get either of them to stay together. Oh, I know how to work. My little hemostat might work, because I can. That did it. Alright, let's go ahead and try and solder that in now. Tip. And this will be about it. I'm going a little longer than I usually do, but today is a great day because I believe, probably erroneously, that this is my last thing that I have to solder on this amp. I've got a lot of solder connecting to this connection, but I don't know if enough. Alright. That's reconnected back in. So effectively this guy will hopefully sit down in somewhere, and then I will also put this guy in there and they can kind of pull these wires out of the way. But for now, especially for my first test, I can probably just carefully with like some insulated pliers do something like this. Go clip, and go clip, and test it out when we need to test that out, so I don't shock the crap out of myself. This should be running at really low volts anyway. I can kind of check that at that time as well. But and then I will figure. I might even just put a large washer that's inside diameter is the size of this one, and outside diameter is bigger than this. So we'll figure that out. All right. Well, everybody, that I think is the totality of this guy done. We're going to do a slow sweep. I'm trying to loosen this a little bit. This, oh no, I spoke too soon. All right, so I'm not going to do it right now because I'm pretty much out of time. You've seen me do it before. It only takes me a few minutes, but I have to get some of this. I've got this RJ 45U or 59U. I have to jump between the main one here and over, and then one over here and over. But we'll get to that. I'll do that offline here in just a minute. But it only takes, it's a process you've seen because you saw me do these here. But effectively, I'm going to do those 2 leads, and then everything else is done. The amp is now ready to go. It is not as clean as I've seen a lot of people do. I don't tend to be as perfect at, like making these leads look linearly perfectly straight. These are a little extra wire on purpose right now because they're my They're coming to here, but it could be out of phase. So when I turn it on, if it's squealing, I'll turn it off, desolder these two, swap them places, but then also cut them to a more specific length so that they're not like hanging loose. And that should be the bulk of it, I think. We're done. So thank you everybody for joining along today. I appreciate it. Please do give me likes, thumbs ups, and subscribes, and we will continue the adventure of building amps together. I will be dropping in the relays into these sockets after, once, actually I could probably do that now that I think about that, because I am at the point where I don't just solder anywhere near those. So one of the things I remembered is that I had to have this bar back side. So that relay is in. That relay is in. And the other good thing is this means if these relays go bad at all, you can replace them really easily. But so, all right. Thanks, everybody. I will hopefully see you again on the live stream, either this Thursday or Saturday. I look forward to that. And I will be doing a double check. So I was going to explain that, I said before. Oh, that was one of the grounds I need. I'm going to leave that sticking up. That other ground from this guy is going to connect into this grounding connection as well. I need to, but I'll do that offline. It's just a simple process. I need to, I need to print off. This is not it. Well, this is kind of a layout of something else, but you print off the layout like this. You go through with a magic marker and you mark off and you say, oh, okay, is this potentiometer in place right here? Yes, it is. Okay, I'll put a mark on it. Is this wire there? Yes, I'll put a mark on it. You go through and you mark off every single component as is, the way it's supposed to be, through the layout that you have of the amp to make sure that you did everything correctly. You use your continuity mode to test that A connects to B correctly. You look at the resistors, or you measure the resistors and the capacitors to make sure those are all done correctly, etc. So I'm going to be going through that process offline during the week and make sure that I get it 100% done and dialed in. So please, everybody, join me for the next one. I hope this will be an exciting little power on first test. And then after that, I will do another video that will be the demo of this beast. So thanks, everybody, for joining. I'll hang around for any questions that might pop up in the next minute or two. But I'm going to call this the end of the live stream. Thanks a lot. While I'm looking to see if anybody asks any questions, I guess I could do this really quickly. I'm done with the live stream. Looks like I'm not getting any questions. It does take, it can take almost a minute, so I'll give it a little bit more time. Thanks, everybody. All right. I haven't got any questions in chat, so I will call that good. Thanks, everybody.